A very good afternoon and thank you for joining us on Beetv News Update at 3. I am Ruth Ogbodu and now the news in detail. President Bola Tinubu has nominated Mr. Taiwo Oyedele as the Minister of State for Finance, replacing Dr. Doris Anite Ozuka. The president also redeployed Anite Ozuka to the Ministry of Budget and National Planning as Minister of State, marking a third ministerial portfolio in the current administration. The president conveyed the nominations to the Senate for confirmation in a letter addressed to Senate President Godswill Akpabio. Prior to his nomination, Mr. Taiwo Oyedele chaired the Presidential Committee on Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms, where he spearheaded a comprehensive overhaul of Nigeria's tax system. Mr. Taiwo Oyedele, 50, is an accomplished economist, accountant, and public policy expert with extensive experience in fiscal management. His appointment is expected to bring technical expertise and strategic oversight to the nation's financial and budgetary planning initiatives. The People's Democratic Party has constituted a 12-member caretaker committee to oversee the affairs of the significantly depleted party in Adamawa State. The committee was inaugurated on Tuesday in response to the resignation of members of the State Executive Committee. The former leadership resigned collectively last Friday, February 27, after Governor Amadou Fintri triggered a wave of defections that has severely weakened the party's membership base. The caretaker committee was constituted by the party's National Working Committee to ensure stability within the party structure in the state. The committee, which has a 30-day mandate, will be chaired by Bemot Dogo, with Yerima Shekaru serving as the secretary. Speaking on behalf of the committee, Dogo expressed gratitude to the PDP's national leadership for the confidence reposed in them, noting that the committee's mandate is to stabilize the party and prepare a credible pathway for the emergence of a substantive state executive committee.
Our profound appreciation to the national leadership of the party for confidence reposed on us. We accept this responsibility with humility, loyalty, and unwavering dedication. We are fully aware that this assignment is not ceremonial. We will prepare a clear and credible pathway for the emergence of a substantive executive committee in due course. To the general public, we want to emphasize that our party remains strong, focused, and committed to democratic values and good governance.
A former member of the House of Representatives, Shina Pella, has said that for democracy to strive in Nigeria, there must be a credible opposition capable for constructively criticizing the ruling party and delivering the change desired by the masses. Pella made the remarks while speaking at an annual Ramadan lecture titled "The Importance of Community Development in Islam," held in Oyo State. Reacting to the recent wave of defections by governors and top politicians from the People's Democratic Party to the All Progressive Congress, the former lawmaker emphasized that the survival for democracy depends largely on a vibrant and effective opposition voice.
Today is simple. You build community, it means you build the entire world. If you lack in building the community, majorly youth, human resources, when you build human, then you build the entire life, you build the entire world. You have built even beyond yourself, you build what will come even after you.
As Muslims, we worship 5 times daily. But Ramadan is different because it's a month that God has ordained that He answers prayers. You know, He forgives us our sin. But during this time, it is very important for us, to bring our people together, to share love, to, talk to ourselves about the existence of human being and the importance of living a righteous life.
Five security officers have been arrested and are set to face prosecution over their alleged involvement in a security breach at Unadi Azikiwe International Airport on 12th of February 2026, an incident reportedly involving former Nasar El-Rufai. The arrest followed a joint investigation by the Department of State Services, Nigeria Immigration Service, Nigeria Customs Service, and the Federal Ministry of Aviation into a serious compromise of airport security protocols. The detained officers were identified as Yaoba Yakubu, an assistant superintendent of police, Motola Inuwa of the DSS, Najib Motala, an assistant superintendent of immigration, and two aviation security officers, Musa Adamu and Salihu Victor. Authorities stated that the officers had confessed to wrongdoing and will face prosecution for their roles in the breach. As the All Progressive Congress fine-tunes its strategies ahead of the 20th June 2026 Ekiti State Governorship election and the 2027 general election, Governor Bayodu Oyebaji has called on residents to mobilize support for the re-election of President Bola Tinubu for a second term. The reports.
The governor made the appeal during a reception for about 10,000 defectors who recently joined the APC alongside party leaders in Ikere Ekiti. He emphasized the importance of unity and active participation to strengthen the party's prospect in the upcoming elections. Observers described the event as a significant political boost for the APC, highlighting the party's growing momentum ahead of the 2026 governorship poll in Ekiti State and the 2027 general elections nationwide. The rally, which drew a large crowd, saw the defection of approximately 10,000 members of the People's Democratic Party to the All Progressive Congress. The group of defectors was led by a former Mr. Heinrich Akomolafe, a one-time candidate of the People's Democratic Party for the House of Representatives.
We all live in Ekiti, and we have seen what the governor is doing in terms of infrastructure development, in terms of rural development, agriculture, road infrastructure. And I felt like, why would I not be part of the progressive family? I'm also a beneficiary of the Tinubu Renew Hope agenda.
Governor Beetv Oyebanji, while welcoming the new members into the All Progressive Congress, emphasized the need for unity and collective effort within the party. He urged residents of Ekiti State to deliver a strong showing in the 2027 elections to ensure President Tinubu's return to office. The governor stressed that continuity in leadership would help consolidate ongoing reforms and development initiatives across the state and nation.
To be honest, you are a very strong politician. You are one young man that I'm so proud of. You have done so well for yourself, and I'm proud that you are joining us. So it's a guy that is ready, and I thank God for your life. And you be an example to all young people in politics. You know that people should do well.
With political realignment gradually shaping the landscape in Ekiti State, the coming months are expected to witness further strategic moves as parties position themselves ahead of the crucial 2026 governorship and 2027 general elections. Naomi Ewere reporting from Beetv News.
And now to the business news. The World Bank Group has warned that developing economies may face a major employment crisis as millions of young people prepare to enter the workforce without sufficient job opportunities. The institution cautioned that this growing gap could threaten economic stability, increase immigration pressures, and heighten global security risk. The report.
In a recent post, the Washington-based organization explained that demographic shifts across developing countries are among the most significant yet underappreciated forces shaping the global economy over the next decade. It projected that about 1.2 billion young people will reach working age within the next 10 to 15 years, while only around 400 million jobs are expected to be created during that period, potentially leaving hundreds of millions without productive employment. The president of the World Bank Group, AJ Banga, emphasized that while global attention often focuses on immediate crises such as conflicts, technological disruption, and market volatility, slower-moving structural challenges including demographic changes, food and water pressures, and globalization trends are likely to have deeper and longer-lasting impacts on the world's economy. Petrol prices rose to 937 naira per litre on Tuesday, following escalating tensions in the Middle East, which pushed global crude oil prices to $84 per barrel from below $70 earlier. In response, the Dangote Petroleum Refinery increased its gantry price from 774 naira to 874 naira per litre, citing changes in the global crude fundamentals and higher replacement costs. Following the increase, filling stations across the country adjusted their pump prices to between 925 naira and 937 naira per litre. For instance, an MRS station in Obalende, Lagos, sold petrol at 937 naira, while stations in Mowe, Ogun State, dispensed the fuel at 930 naira to 935 naira. Before the Middle East crisis, petrol prices had ranged from 812 naira to 839 naira per litre, depending on location. In reaction, the Petroleum Products Retail Outlet Owners Association of Nigeria called on the federal government to provide consistent crude oil supply in naira to domestic refineries, particularly the Dangote refinery. They stressed that strengthening local refining capacity is essential to stabilize domestic fuel prices and shield the market from global volatility. Nigeria's maritime sector recorded a historic surge in activity in 2025, driven by increased cargo throughput, rising container traffic, and a growing export footprint, according to the 2025 Operational Performance Report by the Nigeria Ports Authority. Total cargo throughput rose by 24.8% from about 103.6 million metric tons in 2024 to over 129.3 million metric tons in 2025. The managing director of the Nigeria Ports Authority, Dr. Abubakar Danso, described the growth as one of the most significant annual increases in Nigeria's maritime history, noting that it strengthens the country's position as a competitive and strategic player in regional and global trade. While imports continue to dominate overall cargo traffic, exports accounted for 39% of total throughput, inward traffic 59.2%, and transship 1.8%. Analysts said the rise in exports reflects the federal government's economic diversification initiatives to reduce dependence on crude oil and promote non-oil sector growth. Naomi Ewere reporting from Beetv News.
Motorists in New York and across the United States are reporting rising fuel prices at the pump following renewed military conflicts involving the United States, Israel and Iran that have disrupted global energy markets and disrupted crude oil shipments. The report.
U.S. gasoline and diesel futures have soared sharply as oil prices climbed after attacks on Iranian targets and retaliatory strikes in the Gulf region. Brent crude oil and U.S. benchmarks settled higher on Tuesday, reaching levels not seen since early 2025, amid concerns about supply shortage if conflict continues. Global oil and gas prices have jumped as shipment routes in the Persian Gulf were disrupted, with Tehran's action forcing delays and stoppage in energy exports from key producers. The strategic Strait of Hormuz, through a significant share of the world's crude oil and liquefied natural gas flows, has faced significant disruptions as Iran threatened closure and engaged in attacks against vessels and infrastructure, heightening fear among traders and governments about prolonged supply constraints. New York Harbor Sports diesel future climbed to multi-year highs, reflecting tightening supplies and growing premium for refined fuel products. Analysts say pressure could persist if regional tension escalates or if shipping through Hormuz remains constrained. At service stations, many motorists have reported paying noticeably more than a week ago as retail prices respond to a jump in wholesale fuel costs. In parts of the U.S., the average price of gasoline has exceeded $3 per gallon, the highest seen in recent months, with some drivers attributing the uptick directly to the geopolitical turmoil. Economists warn that continuing conflict could push oil prices even higher, potentially intensifying inflationary pressure for households and businesses that depend on oil for transportation and production. Favor Kolawole reporting for Beetv News.
And now to sports. Sports manufacturer Adidas has unveiled the new South African football kits for the 2026 and 2027 season ahead of the FIFA World Cup and the Women's African Cup of Nations, maintaining the traditional yellow and green colors. Despite losing 3 points during the qualifying series for feeding an ineligible player, South Africa secured their place at the World Cup, which will be held across the USA, Canada, and Mexico, finishing ahead of Nigeria. Adidas became the official kit supplier for both Bafana and Bayana in the League 2025, taking over from French manufacturer Le Coff Sportif. The new design draws inspiration from South Africa's iconic 2010 World Cup jersey, described by Adidas and the South African Football Association as a symbol of national pride during a defining moment in the country's football history. The updated kits honor that legacy while introducing modern elements that celebrate South Africa's diversity and unity. Subtle graphic features woven into the fabric represent the voice of fans from across the nation and around the world, reflecting the country's shared passion for football. And that's the end of our news update. Thank you for joining. Up next is our major news at 6. I am Ruth Ogbodu. Bye for now.